So one of our ewes who was having her first lamb gave us a bit of a surprise this week. So Wednesday morning I walk into the barn. This ewe was up walking around and all I could see was a set of front hooves, a nose, and a tongue sticking out. I realized that lamb was stuck. I wasn't sure if it was still alive or not. I ended up just getting her right here into this lambing jug. I came over, grabbed a set of gloves, put on my OB gloves, got some lube on my arm and hand, and basically all I had to do really was push the lamb's head back in her, and I just barely pulled a little bit on the legs. It came out pretty easy. It was a large lamb. She was acting a little skittish at first. She was acting kind of dazed, kind of just staring off into space a little bit, staring at the lamb, but I let her lick my hands and basically picked the lamb up, put it up underneath of her nose and set it right back down underneath of her. I got out of that lambing jug. I went ahead and fed the rest of the ewes to quiet them down because everybody's making a lot of noise because they were all hungry. I got the lambs fed their creep feed for in the morning. So we ended up processing that lamb, getting it dried off, navel clipped, iodined, and weighed. It was a 15-pound lamb coming from this ewe who's not really a large frame ewe anyway. And with it being her first lamb, we understood why she was a little bit skittish and acting kind of lost. But throughout the day, Rachel was able to keep an eye on her and keep an eye on that lamb. And that's when she noticed that it had an issue with one of its back legs. So here's that lamb standing up, and you can kind of see that back left leg is a little turned out. He gets along okay. He can move around, but he just doesn't quite stand right. He can get up. He's getting milk and everything. Everything seems to be going okay with him. He's bouncing around, acting just like, that leg was perfectly straight. He's bouncing around the pen. He's getting underneath the ewe. He's hopping around with this bottle lamb over here, playing back and forth. So everything really seems to be going okay, but that leg has me a little concerned. So as Rachel was checking on that ewe and that lamb throughout the day, she let me know that one of the legs was looking a little bit strange, kind of bowed out a little bit. She watched it. It seemed to be able to get up underneath its own power and get underneath the ewe, but she was still acting a little skittish, with her being a first-time mom. She really wasn't sure about the whole situation. And Rachel talked with the vet and, sent her some pictures of it. And what we think is maybe that lamb had its leg kind of cocked up, just kind of tight there, and it's just a little bit bowed out. We raised a feeder ewe last year that we fed out, one of the horned Dorsets, that when we picked her up, she had an extremely bowed leg that was bowed out to the side, very similar to this one. And by the time she was about 5 to 6 months of age, when she was finished and ready to go to the processor, it looked perfectly straight. But, with this lamb, I want to give it a little extra care. Here we are 5 days into it being alive, and it seems to be getting a lot better. That leg actually does seem to be straightening out from the first day that it was born to today, and it's able to get up and move around pretty well. So what I want to do today is go ahead and band that lamb's tail and tag it. I don't want to use this lamb stand just because I don't want to mess around with that lamb's hip or, getting it in this lamb stand into that holder. I'm sure it would be okay, but I just don't want to put that lamb through anything because the way that leg lays out there, when it lays down, it leaves it cocked up in the air a little bit. And I just don't know. I don't really want it to freak out. So I'm just going to hold it while we do that. So what I want to do, I want to let that lamb relax, stay in there with its mother overnight again. And I want to fence off this area and give it and its mother an 8x8 area with access to that hay rack. And I'm going to go ahead and take one of those bred ewes that we purchased back in December and put her and her lamb in this area with them, just because that other lamb is a couple weeks behind the other ones, and it was already kind of a small framed ewe lamb just because she was kind of a small framed ewe. And then that way these lambs had their own area. This lamb with the wonky leg can kind of move around, grow a little bit more, get a little bit larger in size before we add it in with the rest of the lambs. I don't have to worry about them beating him up, pushing him out of the way, him being around the other ewes because, they knock each other around, push the lambs around. This way I know they're okay over here by themselves in this one corner, and that'll leave me with one lambing jug left because we still have the bottle lamb here and this one because we're bottle feeding it. Right now I'm pretty sure I only have one, maybe 2 ewes left to lamb, so this one lambing jug should be enough, and as that'll give them enough room in this pen And, that way it gets everybody spread out and this lamb can start, exploring the world a little bit more. And this bottle lamb that had its mother die on it, the only reason why it's doing so good right now that it is because Rachel has spent a lot of time taking care of it, a lot of time bottle feeding it, and just basically taking care of it for its whole first week and a half of life. Right now it's pushing about 2 weeks old. It is doing really well. It is acting just like a regular lamb. It hasn't missed a beat. It's growing well. Its eye seems to be healing well because where it had that eyelid stapled down. But we're going to continue bottle feeding it, and we kind of leave it off here in its own little pen. It likes to come out and play, but a lot of times it hangs out just inside this tub. The heat lamp's not on or anything, but I think it's just kind of a secure thing because it doesn't have a mother to lay up against. Like a lot of these lambs like laying up next to their moms or with the other lambs, and it's in here. But it really likes this jug. But really it's doing really well on a bottle, and it's using a bottle holder really well, so that way we don't have to stand here at the bottle. I can just load it in there when I'm feeding, or Rachel can use that now to load in. It's gotten used to using it, which made things a lot easier on us. Like I said, it's doing really well. I'm really surprised at how well it's doing, but that can be attributed to Rachel taking pretty good care of it. So currently what I want to do, I'm going to move these 3 girls first. Basically just have like a little alleyway set up. Gonna put them right here in with these girls. Then what I'd want to do next, I'm going to leave that jug set up and just open that wooden gate, connect it into this fence line feeder, and then bring that ewe that's back there in the jug with her lamb out in with this guy. That way they have plenty of room. They'll be in a 12 by 8 area. That'll give him room to start adjusting while his legs starting to heal / get back into a normal position. I'm going to leave the jug set up with that last bottle lamb in it. I am then going to pull the gate there to double the size of the creep area. And then I'm going to remove this cross-section gate, that little door panel I got set up there, and then this gate, and just open this whole area up to the ewes with lambs to give them plenty of room. Basically, these lambs are growing extremely well. They're all getting very big, putting on some good weight. We got them on creep right now. I'm going to be increasing that creep and then switching them over to their basically feed that they'll be on, their grower feed. And the ewes need more room at the feeder because of the amount of feed that I'm feeding them. I want to spread it out so that way they're not fighting over it, because the size of these lambs are starting to drag down a couple of these ewes in their body condition. So that'll make everybody a lot more room, a lot more happier, especially as the weather's getting warmer. Gives them some more room to spread out and everybody kind of grow and adjust to just everything that's going on with them. So you can see how much more room I have here in the creep area for them. I just put one of the fence line feeders up over there, just make a little bit more room. I got to finish making another feeder like this, a double-sided feeder that I'm going to set over there. That should be enough room for everybody once I get it put together. But you can see there's a lot more room for the lambs in here. I basically went ahead and took apart all the gates that were here, make it a little bit more solid, because I was afraid of adding any pinch points where like a lamb could get their head or neck caught. So I ended up taking out those door gates that we had here, just putting in that solid 8-foot piece. I actually had to put a door gate up against this cattle panel just so I had a place for the creep gate to hook into that was secure, that wouldn't move. We've had a lamb get pinched before, and it perished. It basically suffocated itself overnight when it got pinched there in the gate. So I try to eliminate any pinch areas. And basically have everything solid wired up or, at an angle, so that way it's to a good tying point like I had it right there before. But, that's pretty solid. I'm not worried about the ewes pushing against it and pinning a lamb because it's wired there to that cross brace and they're not going to bend that back in. But, this gives enough room for these lambs to get in there. What it also did was open up another 16 feet of hay rack area. It gave me 8 feet there on that end of the feeder, and then gave the ewes this other side of the 8-foot. So I'm going to spread the hay out a little bit more for them, but gives them a lot more room at the feeder, so I don't have to worry about, overconsumption of them fighting with each other. Gives them a little bit more room to move around here in the pen. You can see they got a lot more room, really. should work out pretty good for them, because like we got a couple ewes, like this one's starting to get a little thin. Where's another one? This one's starting to get a little thin. That one there is really starting to thin out. And it's just the fact that these lambs are really starting to put on their growth. They're really starting to develop really well, get some good size on them. And with the majority of these ewes having twin lambs right now, it's really dragging down their body levels. It's really taking a lot of energy to produce milk for this many lambs. And so far they're doing a good job, but that's why we wanted to get this opened up right now. So that way we can make sure that they're getting enough room at the feeders, and I have enough room to spread out even more feed for them. I don't mind adding more hay for them. Really not wanting to increase any grain right now, just because we're really going to start probably pulling these lambs for sure, probably in the next 30 days. I'd put all these lambs at 60 days of age or just a hair over. So we'll just have to see how that goes for us and kind of see how the ewes are doing with this new pen right now. These ewes really like their open area. Here's old Wobble Legs. Just a couple days after getting his ear tagged, you can still see that leg sticking out some, but it's not as pronounced as it was definitely when he was born. It's really not as pronounced as it has been. He's doing really well. He's able to get around. He's moving really good. Here's an overshot of him. I mean, it's really starting to tuck in. There he goes. I mean, he's moving, but I just didn't want to add him in automatically with some of these bruisers. Like there's the second lamb that was born, the second lamb we had, and a lot of these other lambs, they're just, some of them are twice the size already. And I just, needing to be able to get used to running around, being around that ewe. They've already knocked each other around a little bit, but it seems like he's going to do okay. Rachel's really done a lot of work with him. And then with this bottle lamb, I'm just so surprised at him. He's the one, whose mother died that right as soon as he was born. He never even really touched her. And Rachel's kept him alive. He's doing really well. He's moving around. Sure, the weather's helped a little bit that it hasn't been down in single digits or anything. We've only had a couple cold days really with him. It's been actually yesterday, I think it got up to 70 in the afternoon, or Monday it got up to 70. So, I mean, he's doing pretty good. We're really happy with his growth, but he's got to stay here by himself. He really likes that jug. Likes getting in there after he eats, it's just his little comfort area. But we'll probably end up integrating him and these two also at the same time. We'll see how it goes. But these ewes right now are really wanting to get some hay in the racks for them. It's feeding time. They're following me around, wondering why I haven't started feeding them yet. I'm just really happy to be able to squeeze this in today, get this done. It's something me and Rachel really wanted done probably more like a week ago. But here we are. I'm just doing it when I have time. I just wrapped that video up actually, and I look over, and Big Tag, who is a really good mother, that's her right there standing next to the gate. It appears that lamb, that bottle lamb that I've never seen milk off of ewe, is underneath of her getting some milk right now. His tail's wagging. I'm not really sure. She's just standing right there. She actually kind of reached around and sniffed him. Her lamb was born, 2 to 3 weeks ago. She really wasn't around him when he was little, other than walking by that pen. And I mean, it appears like he's knocking up on her side there, trying to get a little bit more milk. So I don't know. This is about probably 45 minutes until we give him his final bottle of the evening, till in the morning. So we'll just check. I'll see how much he's getting and how much he drinks tonight. But kind of interesting just to see that. And that would be the first time, actually, that ewe has been able to get up next to him, because I just opened it up tonight. She wasn't able to actually get over there before. So, that's kind of interesting. Gives me hope for when we turn him in with the rest of them, that, he'll be able to sneak a snack here or there. I don't even know if he got underneath of her. I'm gonna go check his mouth right now just to see. But, I mean, old Big Tag, she's a good mother. We'll see. Like I said, it gives me hope for when we get out here with the rest of the ewes that maybe he won't get beat up and he can sneak a little snack when he needs to. And that's a lot of it that we run into. We tagged that lamb with the idea of doing all this the very next day. Then something came up at my work. I got held up there late in the evening. Yesterday, we just kind of ran out of time. It was a little bit cooler weather. We actually had a tornado go through about 20 miles north of us So I was busy with work with that, and then just the weather we were having here was kind of got chilly. And then when I got home today after work, I just knew it was time to go ahead and get everybody moving around. I had the time, the temperature was right, the lambs were ready for it. So I'm really glad I was able to get this project wrapped up here, so I still have plenty of time this weekend to get other stuff done that I need to. Well, that'll wrap this one up. Thanks for watching.